You gonna say something?
hmm Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Relationship Factor Live with Pastor H and Pastor Kim.
Good evening.
Blessings.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with us once again.
Yes, we have a good one tonight, y'all. This gonna be a good one, as they say. hmm this is a good one. The me versus you. Trap versus the team mindset. And what's that all about, Pastor K?
That's becoming a team.
And that's the power of a marriage team. Can I get a high five on that? All right.
All right. All right. Well, welcome back once again, everyone. Today, we're going to tackle a shift that changes everything in a relationship. We're talking about the difference between being a couple and being a true marriage team.
Amen. It sounds simple, right?
Right.
But most couples accidentally play against each other. Think about the last argument you had. Did you want to resolve the issue or did you just want to win the argument? Like I always say, opinion is not the gateway to an argument.
That's right, Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And if more people thought that way, we'd have less arguments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because winning an argument usually means your partner loses.
Your partner loses.
You know, and if the partner loses, your team just lost the whole game. You know, and that's the me versus you trap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it turns your home into a courtroom.
Exactly. A team mindset changes the math. It is no longer you against your spouse. It's you and your spouse against the problem.
That's right. That's right, Pastor. Now, Pastor, let's look at a common example. Say, for instance, finances.
Uh-oh.
You know, that's a big one.
Uh-oh.
You know, and when people money gets tight with people, you know, a divided couple starts pointing the fingers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you spend too much money on coffee, or, well, you bought too many gadgets.
But a marriage team sits down at the table with one goal.
Yes.
They look at the budget deficit as an internal opinion.
Yeah.
They say, okay, how do we defeat this debt together? You see?
Okay, Pastor. It takes the target off the couple's back. You know, you stop viewing them as the source of your stress. We're talking about your mate here. You stop viewing them as the source of your stress and start viewing them as your primary ally.
Well, since you said that, we're going to see defining roles and playing to your strength. Okay. Now, being a team doesn't mean you are identical, okay?
That's right.
You know, a football team doesn't have 11 quarterbacks. You need different skill sets to win. You know, we have different strengths in different areas, and we have to recognize that and collaboratively come together and make it work.
That's true, Pastor, because when you and your partner are at odds, they're pulling one way and you're pulling another way, you'll never come together on anything. And the whole team loses.
The whole team loses.
Okay, now, this is where couples get tripped up, though, Pastor. You know, they expect their partners to handle the task exactly the same way they handle it. You know, if Hilliard folds laundry differently from the way I do, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that you have a different style.
So, you know, if I fold it differently, you don't say, well, at least I'm helping you fold it. No, the way you fold is a way it's being put up on that particular shelf. Right. I might just fold it up and just put it up there and it's sticking out and it don't have no room for nothing else. Long as I got it on the shelf, oh, well, she gonna straighten it anyway. No, That's not a go. But right, the key is identifying who excels where and trusting them to execute. See, if one partner is naturally highly organized, which she is, and loves tracking details, which she is, let them manage the calendar. If the other excel at a big picture planning or staying calm under pressure, lean into that. That's me. I have patience. I lean into it. It don't seem like I might be paying attention, but I'm just cool like that. Okay.
Well, he seems to not. I guess he seems to stay cool under pressure. I'll say it like that. Because me, it's when the pressure is on and it's time to get stuff done, I don't know whether I'm really under the pressure or not, but I feel like things should be done in a timely and orderly manner. And when it's not, it kind of gets me out of sorts a little bit. So I have to lean on him to, say it's okay. It's gonna get done when it needs to get done. It'll be okay. Then I can look to him to calm me down in that situation. But here's the golden rule of team rules: flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility. See, we have to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be all one way or all the other way, because if nobody bends, nothing gets done. Mm-hmm. Division of labor should never turn into that's your job and this is my job.
Oh, that's a dangerous phrase in a marriage. Ladies, wives, husband, don't use that. That's blasphemy to the marriage. Not my job breeds resentment fast.
Yes,
not my job. Just because that you the man, that's your job. You the woman. That don't use that. That's a no. That's poison.
Right, because see, if a person who usually cooks, which would be me in our marriage, has a brutal work day, the teammate steps in. You cover the open field. You don't just stand there watching the ball drop because it's not assigned to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come home and I'll cook and we both clean. But if I don't feel like cooking, or if I'm too tired to cooking, or have had a hard day, then Pastor don't mind fixing us some dinner if it's nothing but a sandwich and some chips.
Mm-hmm.
At least he fixed us something to eat.
It requires, y'all, constant communication. Constant communication. Teams huddle.
Oh, we have someone that's chimed in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Dr. Martise.
Dr. Martise.
Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We're glad to have you here.
Mm-hmm. Like I say, it requires constant communication.
Mm-hmm.
Team huddle.
That's right.
Successful sport teams huddle after almost every play, right?
Right. That's so that they can come up with the next play.
Right. And see, couples need to do the same. A 5-minute morning check in to sync schedules and prevent hours of miscommunication later in the day. You have to keep ongoing communication.
Right. But now, Pastor, let's look at handling errors and protecting the culture.
Okay.
Of the marriage. Okay, let's talk about what happens when somebody drops the ball.
Okay.
Because it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's gonna drop the ball.
Somebody, yeah.
Your teammates forgets to pay a bill. That would be me. Misses an event. That would be him. Snaps at you after a long day.
We don't do that.
No, we don't do that part.
Mm-hmm. And what I usually say, I ain't never been this age before. But anyway, this is the true test of a marriage team. In a toxic culture, a mistake is met with See, I know it. I knew it. I knew you were going to do that. No, don't do that. You always do this. It's a penalty flag thrown by your own side.
That's right. You know, we as people, I'm gonna just say people, I'm not gonna even say a couple, but we as people do not like to take the blame for anything.
Mm-mm.
We like to shift the blame to someone else because we don't want to appear to be the bad one.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to appear to be the one that caused the problem
Mm-hmm.
or caused something to happen. So, you know, that's when we have to own up to our mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and your partner or your husband or wife shouldn't be saying, see, you always do this. I told you not to do this and you did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know, you come together and you talk about it and see how it can be done better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a high performing marriage team practices rapid recovery.
Right.
You know, we can recover from this. That's okay. You know, you made a mistake or I made a mistake, but we can recover from this. You know, you address the error without attacking the person's character.
Right. And I love that term, rapid recovery. You know, it means, you know, you don't let a bad moment turn into a bad weekend. You know,
Right.
you offer grace.
Right.
Quickly.
Right.
Quickly, because you know the overall intent of your partner is positive. You
That's
know,
right.
they didn't mess up just to hurt you.
That's right. You know, that it was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Dr. Marti says accountability. Yes, it most certainly is accountability.
That's right, Dr. Lindsay. Accountability.
And grace.
And grace.
Right. We have to give each other grace.
Mm-hmm.
So you also have to protect the culture of your team from outside noise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always somebody waiting to chime in on your relationship. But let's look here. Righteous Dave says, how do I deal with my spouse being raised to be an independent woman? Can I answer that?
You handle that.
Well, you know, as independent women, we were raised to handle things, to take care of things. Our spouse, our fathers, so to say, our fathers were the ones that were out working. Even though our mothers worked sometimes, we were able to handle things. We were taught how to handle things. And when your wife wants to be independent or your spouse wants to be independent, we have to give them space to be themselves. Mm-hmm. Even though they may make a mistake, we still have to give them that space. You know, because if you don't give an independent woman the space to be who she is, then you'll start having problems. She'll feel as if you know, you're just trying to be controlling. And it's not that you're trying to be controlling, you're just trying to help. And a lot of times as women, we just want you to listen. Mm-hmm. We don't always want your help. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of things we can do ourselves.
Yeah, Dr. Marti say a gentle response turns away wrath.
That's right.
So true.
That's right.
That is so true.
That is true. Thank you for that, Dr. Lindsay.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, a huge point. You know, when you thrash talk your teammate to the outsiders, you weaken the team structure and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
You know, you are inviting people into your locker room mm-hmm. who don't belong there.
Right.
They don't belong there. Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let me take a step back a minute, though. Let's get back to protecting the culture of our team.
Okay.
From the outside, Pastor.
Okay.
You know, that means that you don't complain about your spouse to your friends, your co-workers, or your family. And that includes your children.
And your children.
Because see, when you do that, other people start forming their own opinions of your relationship, right? And when they form their own opinions, that's ingredients for you and your spouse to start getting along bad.
Especially, go ahead.
Because they're going to bring it to your attention, what they've heard or what you've talked about. They're going to interpret it their own way, and it may not be the way it really is.
Especially to your family.
That's right.
That's the worst one to do. See, I always knew that. See, but you never listened to me. I told you she was like that. I told you like that. But you had no, don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Don't talk to other people about it. Know your spouse well enough that if you have a grievance, you can take it directly to the teammate. Keep it internal, in-house, solve it in-house. That builds deep, unbreakable trust between you and your mate.
You like we say, you take it, you talk to your friends, your co-workers, your family. I'm gonna throw this in here. Talking to your dog. These animals so smart. You talking to the dog looking at you. You tell a dog to go somewhere, they won't mind. Then the dog growling if he got an attitude. Then that's when I call 911. Put him in the pound.
He actually talks to the dog, y'all. They don't mind half the time, but he does talk to them. Okay, so if we put all of our trust, build that trust in our mate, when we can talk to them about anything, we can agree to disagree on some certain things. We can bring everything back together when it starts seeming like it's falling apart. We can submit our grievances to each other. We can build our relationship on trust and accountability. Then we can celebrate the wins and the ultimate reward of being a power mate.
Yeah, that's one thing what I like about our marriage. We handle a problem or situation, and we have different opinions of how about it going about it, and then we just have to time out. We have to take a time out. For a few minutes. We come back and we work with that thing, and it comes together. And we sit back and say, "We did that, didn't we? We did that thing. Look at that. We, especially men, working together. This one thing, you're not going to win. I mean, putting stuff together, but when it comes to the house, and for arranging stuff in the house, you ain't gonna win that one. You just kind of go along where you want this here. Yes, that looks good right there. You might not agree with it, but you work together and you sit down and say, you know what, that do look pretty good. If I had it done that way, I probably had to be moving it 2 or 3 times, but that looked good. I'm glad you decide that. You don't just say you just want to have your way, but you work together. The common goal is to win together.
That's right. When you win as a couple, that's when you advance in your marriage.
That's when you advance in it. Like you say, one person succeeds, the whole marriage wins, right?
That's right. And as we wrap up today, let's talk about the best part of being a team, Pastor. Celebrating the wins. When one person succeeds, the whole team wins. If your spouse get a promotion on their job, be it man or woman, it doesn't matter. That isn't just their victory because they got the trophy. No, that's not just their victory. You supported them. You held down the fort while they went out and did what they needed to do in order for him or her to have that win. And you encouraged them. So you sharing the trophy.
And when you view life through this lens, the daily grind becomes lighter. You are never alone in the trenches, and you will always have a built-in advocate, a cheerleader, and a co-captain.
That's right.
Ride and die.
That's right. That's right. And the power of a the power of a positive marriage team is that it turns life challenges from overwhelming obstacles into shared adventures. So positive, righteous Dave has something else to say. How do you stick together when our children try to pull us apart? Well, it's not a matter of the children trying to pull us apart, I don't think. I think it's that children are children and they're going to go to whoever's on their side.
On their side.
Yes, when you have children, they'll go to one person for something. And if that person tells them no, which children don't like to hear no, they play these little games with their parent.
Oh yeah, they use they little side thing they did. What's the matter, baby? Come on, you can tell Mama, Daddy. I asked Mama, Daddy, and they said no. Why they say no? What do you? Well, go on, baby. That's all they want to hear. You done said no. No is no.
Right.
You know. So, but you don't just say, okay. Then there's something when they say, what they going? I told her they couldn't have it. Why you said that? Well, you know. No, you don't do that. No is no on both ends.
Yes, because children will try to pit you against each other. You know, they'll try to get something out of one that they know the other one is not going to let them have.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll try to get one of the parents to let them do something that they know the other parent is not going to let them do.
Mm-hmm.
So the parents, the couple, need to form an agreement where if one says no, no means no.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we've done when our children were children, if they come and ask me for something, and I don't know whether he's going to agree to that, I'll ask them, did you ask your daddy? And if they say no, or if they say yes, they asked them, I'll say, well, what did he say?
Mm-hmm.
He said no. I say, well, why are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
No means no.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, ask one and expect the other, ask one and they tell you no, and then expect the other one to let you have or do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that, Pastor?
I agree with that. Mm-hmm. So, I would suggest, when not with marriage and there's children involved, have family time. Sit down with the children and say, we did this. We're going to have a family talk. One thing, we still mom and we still dad.
Right.
We're doing it because we want you to be able to come to us and talk to us about any and everything. We just break it down and what's not, and always straight. Never, what's my thing? Never, what did I say? When you have choices, that was my big thing with the children.
I can't remember right now.
We OG, sometimes we forget.
He doesn't know what he's going to say.
But anyway, I come back to it. Whenever you have choices, don't settle.
That's it. Don't settle.
Don't settle. When you have choices, you analyze your choices and make a choice. But don't just settle just to get over. In closing, y'all, start small this week. Start small this week. Sit down with your spouse, ask them, how can I better back you up this week? And see how fast that dynamic shifts. How better can I back you up this week? And see how fast that dynamic shifts. Thanks for listening, everyone, and go out there and play like a team. Win that trophy.
Play like a team and come back next week and let us know who won the game.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you for tuning in. This has been Pastor Kim
and Pastor H. We'd like to thank Righteous Dave and Dr. Martise Lindsay for coming in and sharing
with us tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, this concludes our discussion tonight on the power of a marriage team.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we'll be talking about the winning family.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned. Meet us right here next Thursday. No, I'm sorry, that's Bible study. Next Tuesday night at 7:00 p.m. Don't forget to like, tag, or share. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. See you next time.
And always remember
to go out and
be a blessing.
See you then.